Welcome to the SCV Law and Life podcast. I'm Mason Roshdian. Each week I sit down with people in the legal world and beyond to talk about the strategies that are actually working for them in law, in life, and everything in between. Real conversations, real lessons, and ideas you can actually use. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of the SCV Law and Life podcast. I'm your host, Mason Roshdian, founder of the Mason Law Firm. Today, we're discussing a topic that affects virtually every employer and employee at some point in their careers: employment law. From workplace disputes and employee discipline to labor unions, discrimination claims, and compliance with the ever-changing employment regulations, these issues can have significant legal and financial consequences for businesses of every size. Joining me today is Charles Krugel, a highly respected labor and employment attorney with more than 30 years of experience representing businesses in employment-related disputes.
I don't know about the respected part, but okay.
Throughout his career, Chuck has advised employers in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors, and he's frequently quoted by local, national, and international media for his insight into today's most important workplace issues. In this episode, we'll discuss the biggest employment law challenges facing businesses today, common mistakes employers make, recent legal developments, and practical advice that every business owner should know. Charles, welcome to the SCV Law and Life podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Mason. Likewise, I appreciate you having me.
Of course. So tell me a little about yourself and how it was that you came to be an employment and labor law attorney.
So I've been practicing now for 25 years, solely on the employer side. I have 30 years of experience in the field on the employer side too. And I came into this field because I was interested in labor relations, employee relations, human resources management. I have a master's in industrial organizational psychology, and I thought I would go into that field, but it was too soft and touchy-feely for me. And I found like the harder edge stuff to be in labor and employment related disputes. And I've always had a greater affinity for management than I have for employee side. So I stuck with management. Actually, I did do one employee side thing once. I worked in-house for a labor union. So
yeah. How was that? Did you like that or no?
It was okay. I mean, it was kind of soft for me. I was representing a very sophisticated airlines pilots, one of the largest airlines in the world, and I was in-house with their labor union representing their pilots, and it was okay. I mean, they treated me well, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be in terms of intensity of the issues and all that.
Yeah, I think I told you before we got started, I watched some of your podcasts with Terry Heaps from Chroma Counsel, and she did mention the fact that your background was in psychology before you went into law, which is what I did. My bachelor's is in psychology.
Yeah, same here.
So what sounds like it helps you with today. And tell us how it helps you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in college, my senior year, I did an internship on the criminally insane ward of a mental health hospital, state mental health hospital, and it was medium security. So these guys weren't like Hannibal Lecter or anything like that. But they were still kind of a bad sort for the most part, or they did a lot of bad things, even though they were mentally ill. And I figured, handling that, and I was really good at that. The workplace stuff is kind of like a step back from that, or a few steps back from that. So, and I did social work too with long-term mentally ill individuals on the streets of Chicago for a while before I went to graduate school, right after college. So doing that was like a very different experience, and handling that, dealing with people in crisis situations on the streets was a lot different and simpler, I think. Or no, I mean, makes employment law a little bit simpler.
Got it. So what's the biggest challenge that employers face currently?
Well, right now I'm seeing a lot of litigation relative to wage and hour disputes, harassment, discrimination. It's always been the same, but I think right now, in all honesty, since Trump became president again in a second term, it's increased a lot. He's ratcheted up the intensity in the workplace. I think his policies and his style have really ratcheted up the intensity of and contentiousness in the workplace. Although during the pandemic, I was seeing more union disputes and union issues, and since he became president again, Trump, I'm not seeing as many union issues, even though he campaign on being friendly to unions. and some unions supported them too, including the National Teamsters Union.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
How about AI? Is that playing an effect at all as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as what's going on today?
It's made it a lot. Well, I think it makes it so that people talk like they're speaking with AI. I get a lot of, I read a lot of complaints from employees that look like they've been written by AI, but it's actually made the practice of law a lot easier. I think technology in general makes the practice of law a lot easier. So I like AI despite that.
Yeah, I mean, we use AI too. Like, if you don't use AI by now, you're behind the 8 ball,
Yeah.
plain and simple.
Yeah,
You
I
should
think
use
so.
it to help you, but not to write a brief for you in court.
Yeah, I don't use generative AI for the most part.
Yeah.
I sometimes like to experiment with it to see how would AI write this for me, but it doesn't replicate my idiosyncrasies, syntax, cadences, things like that, my vocabulary. It makes it much more generic, I think, which is why you could kind of tell who writes with AI and who doesn't.
Got it. So I know you're talking about the policy that's going on right now. Do you see that changing anytime soon with in the next few years?
Depends on whether red or blue wins.
Okay.
So
that
you
would,
know, I think it really depends on whether Republicans win or Democrats win. Republicans are traditionally anti-union and traditionally anti-employee. Democrats are more pro-employee and pro-union. So historically or traditionally, but I think it's going to depend a lot on that.
okay. So in the 30 years you've been doing this, tell me, I don't do what you do. I do personal injury only. So how has the laws changed in those 30 years? Has it gone to one side more than the other one? Does it stay in the middle? Does it go back and forth? How
It
does
goes
it?
back and forth.
Okay.
The one constant is that our society's become increasingly bureaucratized. That's the one constant. It's never loosened up. It's never less bureaucracy or less red
Okay.
tape. It's always more red tape and bureaucracy.
So do you see the biggest issues right now, as far as employers go? Is it the hiring process that they should re-implement or look into, or is it the retention, or something other than those two?
Well, I think it's always the hiring process, because if you hire garbage, you're going to end up with garbage in the workplace. So I think hiring processes are really one of the most important things, and I think to a large extent that relates to job descriptions. I think job descriptions are one of the most important parts of that, because that defines what the job is and what its meaning is to the company and all that.
Okay. Now, do you come in at what stage? Do you consult employers before they even start the job process, or do you come in after someone files the claim, or do you do both?
Both. So it's always cheaper for me to do counseling on the front end proactively than it is to be reactive and do litigation. Litigation is more, it makes more money for me, but I think from an employer standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's better to be more proactive and to basically take care of this stuff and to head off these issues on the front end relative to hiring, job descriptions, handbooks or policies, that type of stuff.
Do you like one or over the other?
Litigation is kind of fun, but in all honesty, I mean, you probably see this yourself. I mean, litigation is like the worst way to resolve disputes. I mean, it makes a lot of money and all, but I mean, and I tell this to clients and prospective clients, like, if you get involved in litigation, literally the only person who's going to make money off of this is me and opposing counsel. It might not even be opposing counsel either. I have a case right now where opposing counsel made a demand 6, 7, 8 months ago of $130,000. And a judge recently told us, last Friday, as a matter of fact, that they see this case being worth $20,000 to $22,000. So, I mean, based on that, I mean, that plaintiff's counsel is losing out. I'm going to get paid by my client no matter what. So, it's just not it's not an effective way of resolving disputes, right? And it's just better to resolve it on the front end with good hiring and good practices and good investigative procedures or conflict resolution procedures within the workplace too.
And I imagine if there is a claim filed, that you guys want to do the mediation early on, maybe do you ever go that route, or you went away?
Yeah, we do mediation, but like last Friday when this judge told us that they saw the case being worth $20,000 to $22,000, that was in a settlement conference that was supervised by the judge. and it took us 20 months to get there. So we've been litigating for 20 months, and we finally get up to this. And ironically, I was getting my butt kicked in court for the last 20 months, and then all of a sudden, like, I file my pre-settlement memorandum, and the judge does a 180, and is all of a sudden on our side, like completely on our side. So, I mean, the only way that conference could have gone better was if they accepted our opening offer then and there, but they didn't. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on the timing, but the one thing I look for in mediation, and I mean, well, first of all, whenever I get into mediation, I always tell my clients there's three sides to every story. There's the plaintiff side, defendant side, which is our side, and the mediator side. So, and what I try to do is make sure that we plan or prepare for the mediator side. And one of the most fundamental things I'm looking for is that the mediator is not trying to split the baby in half, so to speak, that they're not trying to create a 50-50 thing. Because I say this to mediators too, at the start of mediation, I often find that employees and their representatives and attorneys, whatever, will artificially inflate the amount that they're demanding in order to justify a 50-50 split. So they can make it look like they're making a great compromise by reducing their demand by 50%. And if it's artificial, it's no matter what they say. I mean, if it seems artificial, then that, we're not going to go for that.
Right. When I used to do defense work, we'd get cases where demand would be outrageous. That it would come in, and you go, that doesn't help at all anybody. So this is what on this side, I'm on the plaintiff side. I make my law more reasonable because I know what the other side is going to look at it. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah.
By the way, I'm seeing more PI attorneys who are entering the employment realm. So really? I'm seeing more PI attorneys advertising, like the guys who advertise on buses and trains and all that. They're doing, they advertise now doing the discrimination, harassment, wrongful terminations, and wage and hour stuff too.
Do you know why that is?
Yeah, it's more money. They get attorney's fees. So on wage and hour disputes, you get attorney's fees because statutorily it's usually provided, within most states and federal law. And then on the discrimination harassment side, it's possible if it's a fee shifting jurisdiction to get attorney's fees. So.
Got it. Okay.
Or insurance. So they're trying to get insurance money. Insurance companies have deep pockets. Right. And if they find out, like under federal rules, you have to disclose insurance under Rule 26. State laws don't necessarily require that. I'm in Illinois and they don't require it. So they're going to know if there's insurance early on, if it's a federal complaint. And they'll know that insurance companies tend to lay down. In all honesty, I mean, they tend to take the path of least resistance and settle.
So I know wage and hour is different than the discrimination claims, but my understanding is that discrimination claims are hard to prove. Is that?
I think it's, there's a three-part test. Usually the first two prongs of the test are easy to overcome. That's you prove you're in a protected class, and then you prove that an adverse action happened to you. And then you have to show that whatever the action was based either on discrimination, or if the company offers a legitimate non-discriminatory reason, that reason was what's called pretextual, meaning it's a bogus or BS reason, and it's really just offered to cover discrimination.
Got it. Now, I know you said in work investigations. Do you do those guys yourself, or do you have an outside person?
Both. Okay. So I do investigations myself, and both I refer out. So recently I was just doing like armchair quarterback, an investigation done internally by my client who did a very good investigation. And we're just waiting to see where everything's going to fall, all the pieces fall out. Police have been involved, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I interviewed an attorney out here who does just investigations, and the thing was, it's always better to have an outside person coming in. That way, there's no.
From a practical standpoint, it makes it more clinical. The bureaucrats appreciate it because there's less appearance of conflict of interest or things like that. But I mean, from a business standpoint, the company may not be able to afford it. That's what happened with this one client I just mentioned. They thought that the investigator, I recommended an investigator, is very good, and the investigator was expensive. My client thought, so they basically said, look, if we did our own investigation, would you just kind of armchair quarterback this and see if we did everything right and if there's anything else we need to do? And so they did a good investigation, their person, and everything was pretty, I thought it was all good for the most part. So, but it's generally, I think insurance companies generally appreciate it more too if there's an independent investigator on it.
Do you see a common misconception by employers out there right now, or employees for that matter, when it comes to these kind of claims?
Well, the common misconception for employers, depending on your jurisdiction, if you're in an at-will state or jurisdiction, that we can fire them for any reason, any time. And I'm like, well, not really, because first of all, there's also unemployment comp, so you have to be able to account for that. And then there's harassment discrimination. So if they file a complaint, an agency complaint or a lawsuit, you're going to have to defend against that, and there's a cost to it.
Okay.
And on the employee side, I think the most common misconception I see is that I get a lot of calls from employees because they misread my Google business page, and so I rank high on Google, and so they contact me. I get about 3 or 4 calls a day, 7 days a week. I don't take them, but they leave messages, voicemails. And generally speaking, they all say, if you knew what I know about this company, you would blow your mind, or I would like blow the lid off this company. And 9.9 times out of 10, it's never that. That's not the case. So.
Yeah, trust me, we get that in the PI field too. They'll think, I've got this thing that, yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh yeah, like the guys who advertise must have like, call us, call. No matter, you're not. There's that one commercial with the guy saying, "You're not calling yet. Call me."
Good guy. Yeah, there's one commercial where it's like, remember those telethons like Jerry Lewis used to have?
Yeah, I see that.
It's like
that's hilarious.
Just sitting around.
They have their own call center with everybody dressed like attorneys, and they're all on the phones answering questions.
Yeah, it's just okay. How about remote working? Does that has changed the environment for you guys?
Oh yeah, because prior to the pandemic, it wasn't as big, and we always had to appear in court or before agencies, in person. And during the pandemic, and since, a lot of court work and agency work is remote. So the only time you really have to appear in person is for like intensely contested motions or for trials.
Yeah, which is the same over here. But what about employees working remotely? Has that changed the landscape for you guys?
Yeah, but I think a lot of employers have adjusted well to it for the most part. So I mean, it's not that hard to hold employees accountable, I think, because you're still looking at their productivity. So I mean, if the productivity is up to par or good, then there's probably not much of an issue.
Okay. So tell people how they can get a hold of you if they need your services.
Well, if you just Google Krugel, Krugel, or go online and just Google my name, Charles Krugel, they could get a hold of me, but 312-804-3851. And I have a long email address that unfortunately I created it like at the dawn of the internet. And I thought I was being clever by, CAK1 at charlesAkrugel.com, but everybody forgets the A, and it's kind of a problem. So,
yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes those emails can get really difficult. So let me ask you this. You were just talking about remote, hearings, remote, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you like the remote stuff, or would you rather go to court like we used to?
It's 50-50. I mean, I can't say one is better than the other. From an efficiency standpoint, I like appearing virtually, but there is a certain, I don't know, like a buzz or a certain rush about appearing in court in front of the judge. There's been a couple of occasions, and I'm not trying to brag, but there's been a couple of occasions where I've yelled at the opposing counsel in front of the judge. I didn't, and I don't think I could do that remotely. It was all in person, and
Right.
And to see the judge's reaction while I do that and all. I mean, in one case, I went on a 2-minute rant, and the judge smiled at me while I was in doing that. So, it's hard to say, but I guess at best it's 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, today's attorneys who pass in the bar may never even get to see a court. I mean, let's face it, right?
But that was true when I was in law school too. I mean, all my law professors said that.
No, but you're right though. When we did this before pre-pandemic, we used to go to court on regular motions, case management conferences. We used to go to depositions in person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, depositions.
You get dressed up. There's a certain, you feel like an attorney, like you're doing something important, right? There's a buzz to it. You're in court. I would always get excited about it in a way, but I totally understand being in your office is so much better, especially if you don't have to drive 100, in the 100 degrees temperature, like the downtown LA right now, and then coming back takes you half a day. I know.
Yeah. Or if I could walk to court from where I live in Chicago. I'm in downtown Chicago. But if it's like 90 degrees and humid out, by the time I get to court, I'm drenched.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what
Or
you
I
mean.
have to change in the washrooms in the federal building, which is not like ideal either. So
Are most of your stuff in federal court or civil or state court? About like
50-50. I
50?
prefer federal court over state court when it comes to labor and employment stuff, but it's half and half. I just
Okay,
think federal court's more professional and better run.
okay. For people like me who don't do labor and employment, do you like federal more than the state court?
Okay, I mean, for a number of reasons. First of all, the electronic filing system in federal court is much better than state court, 100% better than state court. ECF Pacer is just a really elegant, great system. I could actually do research off of it. I really can't research off of our state court electronic filing system. The judges are more up to speed on the cases. They're more informed about the cases. I've had state court judges admit to me, we don't know what the case is about unless you tell us. And we're only going to know, you're only going to tell us when we're live in court. So they don't know. The clerks are more professional in federal court than state court. They're more, it's easier to deal with issues. If an issue, like an electronic issue arises, it's easier to deal with. The judges, they know their rules for the most part. I've dealt with state court judges who don't even know their own rules. I had an issue arise about a page limit, and there was no page limit. So, in state court, but the federal judges know what the limits are and all that. Yeah, it's just better. We can get down to brass tacks much quicker and easier in federal court than it can in state court. So,
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the federal court. I've only done a handful of like, 2 or 3 cases in federal court, and for me, it's the opposite. That
really,
the electronic stuff in federal court drives me nuts. It's a lot easier for the state courts for me.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind me asking? I don't know if you want to say this or not, but what
No.
system do you guys use in California for state court filing?
So it depends. Like LA County has their own, which is great.
Okay.
If it's not LA County, if it's one or the other, like Orange County, Kern County, Ventura County, then we go through like one legal and they'll file it for us.
Okay.
But the fact that I can do the state court, the LA County stuff myself, to me, it's a lot easier. I can just do it.
See, like we use Odyssey here, and I don't like Odyssey. It's very awkward and clunky. And then also, I don't even get the court orders off of Odyssey. For some reason, Odyssey tells me that their customer service says that like if you want to get court orders sent directly to you, you have to tell the clerk of the court to send them to us, and then you have to be on our list. Well, I'm already registered. I'm on your list. I get the motions if they're filed by the attorney. I don't get the orders if they're filed by the judge. I don't have any of those issues with Pacer in federal courts. Everything's done and it's all done right. There's never any issue about it.
Got it. Okay. All right. So let's get to know you a little bit. So tell me about yourself, a little bit background.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I have a master's in industrial organizational psychology. I have a background largely in psychology, at least undergrad and graduate school wise, and then law school. And I've worked for the Chicago Public Schools and the Airline Pilots Association, a labor union in the past. And I like living downtown. I have a dog.
I saw your dog in the background a little bit.
Yeah, she's moving around there. Yeah, Airedale.
Tell me about. I have 2 big dogs. I have a husky, 100-pound husky, and
Oh my
a
God.
100-pound mix.
Oh my God, that's a lot of dogs, man. Big
I love
dogs.
my dogs.
My dog, she's a 10-year-old, 50-pound Airedale type of terrier. She's a lot of fun, obnoxious but fun. Good girl.
Does she always come to the office with you?
I have a home office, so she's here with
Okay.
me all. Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah. So this is what I look at. This is a live background looking out at Grant Park, what's called South Loop, Chicago. Actually, what's going on behind me right now is Lollapalooza that just started today, and you could sort of see the main stage from where I am. So
I didn't know Lollapalooza was still around.
oh yeah, it's been going for like 30 years, I think.
I went to the very first Lollapalooza out here.
Really?
Yeah, I still have the T-shirt for it. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, so they've been having in Chicago now for like, I don't know, 15 years or so, I think.
Okay. Huh. Maybe it's a different Lollapalooza.
It's just, I'm pretty sure it's the same one. I mean, it's the one that was started by Perry Farrell of Jane's
Yeah.
Addiction.
Yeah, the one I saw, Susie the Banshee was in it. I
Oh, wow.
think Jane's Addiction might have been in it. So yeah, it was a long time ago.
Oh, cool. Right.
So tell me, what do you like to do when you're not practicing law? What's your
Walking my dog. And, yeah, I mean, she has a lot of energy, so I have to walk her like 3 times a day, 40 minutes to an hour a day. So each
Wow.
walk. I mean, so I get her out a lot.
Okay. Are you a sports fan?
Yeah, Sox, White Sox, Bulls, and Bears. Not
Okay.
much of a Cubs fan, but I have nothing against the Cubs.
So,
Not
okay.
not a Dodgers fan. I'm not an Angels fan. So
Well, I knew that. But okay, I'm curious, and I do hear this a lot. It's like the Mets and the Yankees. People like either one or the other, right? Cubs and Shy Sox, the same thing. Why is it that you can't like both teams?
I don't have anything against both. I don't have anything against the Cubs. I would never want to see the Cubs win at the expense of the White Sox. And I was thrilled when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. But I mean, generally speaking, I think people have always thought. My dad was a Sox fan, so I was raised a Sox fan.
Okay.
Even though we grew up on the far north side of the city, but and the Sox are South Side team. I mean, so
Yeah.
we always thought that the White Sox are more of a real team than the Cubs. First of all, the Cubs were not a real team until the Ricketts family bought out the team in like 2010 or 2005 or whatever it was. So I mean, prior to the Ricketts family owning the Cubs, nobody ever thought they were a real team or a real franchise, or So we've always, to us, the White Sox were always like a real team.
Got it.
Yeah. So Frank Thomas and Dick Allen and Jack McDowell and Mark Brewer and all that. So
Yeah. Okay. I no, I can see that. I mean, I've never been to Chicago to see either teams. I would love to see Wrigley Field at some point.
it's a beautiful ballpark, just
Yeah.
a stunning and really great neighborhood. That's one of the reasons I praise the Ricketts family, because they've done like an unbelievable job with Wrigley Field. I mean, you're just it's 100% better than what it used to be.
Got it. Are you a Bears fan?
Yeah, huge Bears fan. Soldier Field is just on the other side of these buildings behind me.
So are they going to do a new stadium, from what I understand?
Yeah, I mean, they bought property in on the northwest suburbs of Chicago. So they bought an old racetrack that's been torn down, and they have all the space for it, but they're looking at Indiana too. So
Yeah,
there's like
I heard about that rumor. There's no way you guys will allow that to happen. Go to Indiana.
there's not a matter of allowing it to happen. It's what the organization wants to do.
Yeah, but
So,
you've
I
been there
mean,
for such a long time. I mean, Bears fans, right? You just
well, I
like,
mean, the New York Giants and New York Jets play in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So
well, how far would it be from you guys? I don't.
actually, if they were to move south to Indiana, it would only be about a half-hour drive.
Oh,
If they were to move to Arlington Heights on the northwest, it would be about an hour drive. So actually, the Indiana location's closer than the northwest Chicago suburban location.
and it'd be a closed stadium, right? I assume, or they can close it.
Yeah, they're not. They don't want to put out the money for a retractable roof.
Oh. See, I can't. I mean, I watch football games all the time. I'm a Raiders fan, and I can't imagine every time I see a game in like snow weather. It's like, come on, can't get anything done. It's not to me. It's not fun to watch because nobody can do anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, especially modern day stadiums where most of them have roofs or retractable roofs. So the Bears organization won't put out the money for a retractable roof, so they'll only go in for a closed roof stadium.
Okay, and then sitting on those benches in the cold weather. Oh God, I can't even imagine how cold.
We I went to the Bears Packers game at Soldier Field in December, and it was just freezing there, and the stadium management won't allow you. Supposedly, cardboard boxes on the ground will help keep your feet warm, but they won't allow you to bring in your own cardboard boxes. So you have to get them like in the stadium, like by buying a pizza, or, a whole pizza or something like that. So I mean, it's just really inconvenient. The Soldier Field where they play is really run down. It's just not a modern stadium.
Okay. Huh. Wow. How about the Bulls? You like the Bulls?
I love the Bulls, yeah. Although they haven't done anything. Well, I mean, they had a chance with Derrick Rose when they drafted him #1, and he was a great player, but injuries really kind of shortened his career and made it difficult for him. But I mean, now they have a new general manager and a new coach, so we'll see what happens. They have the #4 pick in this year's draft, who's supposedly Caleb Wilson, who's supposedly a great player. He has a lot of potential. So, I mean, we haven't really been relevant since Jordan retired in '98. Or I guess maybe you could say we were relevant when they had Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, and Carlos Boozer and Luol Deng and all that, but they didn't win any championships, and they didn't get too far in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
you guys got the Lakers, who are always relevant, and the Clippers, which have been relevant too.
No, Clippers never relevant. No.
Well, they were doing okay with what's that guy's name? Kawhi Leonard, when they had Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, the guy who they basically cheated. They're still under investigation.
Yeah,
About you cannot tell. I'm a huge Lakers fan, as you can see on my wall. I hate the Clippers, and most Lakers fans hate the Clippers. So I'll tell you how much I hate the Clippers. I actually own a website that's called IHateClippers.com.
That's funny.
Okay, those guys should really go back to San Diego or where the hell they move to Seattle. I don't care. We don't want them out here.
To me, the funny thing about the Clippers is that all the controversy about Donald Sterling overshadowed the team for a while.
You know what?
Still kind of overshadows the team.
Here's what irritates you about the Clippers. So there was a few years where the Lakers were not doing well at all, and Clippers were actually better. But they could have had a chance to really win over fans by saying, "Hey, look, the Laker organization is great. They're in a downfall, but they're going to come back. But in the meantime, LA, let us, take the baton and help you grow." Blah blah blah. That's not what they did. They started bad-mouthing the Lakers and Lakers fans and how much greater they are. A team that's never even won more than one playoff series ever in their entire franchise.
Was that when Don Sterling owned the team?
Yeah, and even after that, even during, but instead of don't badmouth somebody you've never. We used to go to, I went to a Clipper playoff game that somebody invited me to, and I'm sitting there, and this yahoo at halftime is mouthing, "Whose house is this?" And you look up on the rafters, it's all Lakers championship. I go, "It's the Lakers house, not the Clippers house." There's nothing up there. But yeah. Sorry, that's my intake on.
I know they've had a lot of problems as an organization, as a team. They did try to make an effort when they acquired Leonard.
Yeah.
And they tried to build a team around them, but they still never won anything. So.
And they're going to trade him anyways. He's on the. They traded him.
I thought they lost Leonard already. I thought he's gone.
Well, they did, but it's on hold.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. I remember now seeing that. Yeah.
Because of the investigation, it's on hold.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, tell us. Let's go back a little bit. Can you give us a little insight of what employers should do when they hire somebody, what they should do in return somebody, what to do to avoid getting into a lawsuit? What would you recommend? Simple.
Hiring somebody, create a good job description, what's called a valid job description, so that it actually reflects the realities of the job. And a job description doesn't have to be a novel, it doesn't have to be like multi-page. It could just be 1 or 2 pages, and basically describe what the essential functions of the job are. And then firing somebody, just make sure that you, I don't want to say have your ducks in a row, because that's such a generic remark, but basically to have your documentation prepared ahead of time before you fire them, and to have like your spiel, your script, or to have whatever you want to say to them prepared if you say anything at all to them.
Yeah, I imagine the documentation is very important. You want to document every time there's an issue.
It's a reflection of our bureaucratized society.
Yeah. Do employees ever come to you and ask you for advice on how to document things that are going on to make sure later on? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually pretty simple, and this is like elementary school type stuff. Like when I was a kid, I went to Chicago Public Schools, and they taught us how to write book reports, and the book reports are or how to analyze newspaper articles, and always based on the W's. What happened, when it happened, where it happened, who was involved, who witnessed it, what was said or what was done, how things went down, that type of stuff. It doesn't have to be a novel. It just has to be reflective of that.
Documentation is important. Yeah. Same thing with our business, PI, documentation. Document everything.
I get into a lot of disputes where there's lapses or gaps in documentation, and we have to kind of recreate it. And the problem is that if you don't create it contemporaneously with the incidents as they arise, it doesn't look as credible, especially to a third party judge, adjudicator, arbitrator, whatever, investigator, whatever.
Yeah. So one question I ask all my guests is, if you were to meet your 10-year-old Chuck today, based on what you know today, what advice would you give him?
Well, 2 things. One, humorously, don't buy or get involved with hair restoration products. And I guess the more serious one would be learn how to focus better. When you read or do anything, learn to focus, because I think I wasn't officially diagnosed ADHD, but I have a lot of the symptoms or tendencies of that. So basically learn how to focus and not let noise affect you.
Trust me, I think everybody has some of that going on. Like,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Yeah, just to some degree. Like, there are days I want to be alone, leave me alone, just quietness. That's what happens. This is one of those weeks, by the way. I just want nobody around me. Quiet office is the best right now. All right. Tell us one more time how people can get a hold of you, please.
So 312-804-3851 is my phone, and Charles A. Krugel, KRUGEL.com is my URL, and my email domain as well. So,
all right. So everyone who's watching and listening, Charles knows his stuff. So if you have any questions, especially as a business owner, please do not hesitate. Give him a call or get on his website and send him an email, whatever you have to do. Get the things going and protect yourself from the very beginning.
yep.
And thank you so much for being a guest. And for everybody who's watching and listening, please, if you like us, please like and subscribe and watch for future episodes.
Thanks for
Thank you
hosting.
again. Okay, take care.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the SCV Law and Life podcast. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, make sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Mason Roshdian, and I'll see you next time for more conversations on law, life, and what really moves the needle.